Hey guys and ladies, welcome to Zip Gaming Online, and today we're going to do something a little bit different, and it's practically just a video, a series of videos hopefully, about talking really about the maximum potential of a weapon. For this case it's gonna be a Mk1 Braton, so before I go anywhere, I do have to tell you that yes, this is a long video. Yes, I will be showing you everything. Yes, I will I actually did this to my Mk1 for you guys to actually see it. So, basically you guys get to see the maximum potential, and I get to suffer grinding the levels and all of that to actually get it to this stage. So you guys don't have to. And I'm probably gonna suffer for it, but here you go. So here's the basically the set of polarities that I would use personally. This is what I think is the maximum potential it can get without actually making me uncomfortable in using the weapon itself. So we'll start with, we have the the standard loadout really, which is Serration Split Chamber, right? On this one it's gonna be for Void. Yes, this is actually going to be Void loadout for Mk1 Braton that I personally use, and I know it's gonna sound a little silly, but we're gonna test it on basically T3 Exterminate mission. And yes, you are actually seeing a Mk1 Braton, not a Braton, not anything else, a Mk1 actually making a complete waste of all these enemies. I mean, how often do you get to actually see this? A Mk1 tearing enemy above level 30 to shreds. Yeah, it's actually pretty overwhelming really, and you could even say like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. That is a heavy gunner. That is a heavy gunner, and anybody who played, Void missions will know just how annoying heavy gunners can be. And primarily it has to do because, they have a lot of health, they have a lot of armor, but look at this, it's just tearing it up. The problem, however, comes in with ammo. Okay, as much as it works, it kills the enemies fine, but on T3, as you can see, I ran out of ammo after killing 141 enemies, and I still got, let's see, 17 left to kill. So it's actually not bad, it really isn't. And I do play, without actually trying to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna aim headshots all the time. No, I just generally aim where I would aim, which is the torso area. Basically that's where I would. And it's not like I changed the playstyle to make it any better. And I actually used Carrier as my sentinel to just kind of give you a realistic idea of what's gonna happen, because let's face it, a lot of us do use Carrier to actually pick up all the ammos, all the mods, stuff like that, right? So this is basically a rather fair, realistic assessment. This, however, is the loadout for Void that uses heavy caliber, and here's the problem. I dislike, no, I hated anything that has to do with heavy caliber. I really do. Which is kind of why we're sticking with this heavy caliber, because anything above that I just simply cannot tolerate. It's just not done. Even on this, I'm having a really hard time trying to place my shots. As you can see, I missed a lot with this. And a lot of people could argue that, you know what, Zip, you're a little silly. You could actually just get closer and just shoot the enemy with it. Yes you can. But is it practical? No, it's not. It's not really practical to come up really close to your enemies, taking up all those shots, only to shoot it with your rifle. It's like, if you're really gonna go up close like that, then you better actually A, bring a shotgun, or B, use a melee. Either way, it's not an actual, you know, scenario where you actually want to get up close. And as you can see, although yes, it does a fair amount of damage, and to be fair, this is on Mark 1 by the way, it's kind of like, yeah, well, you don't really, I mean, it's still accurate. That's what I'm saying. It's still accurate, and like I said, this is the only this is as high as heavy caliber can take me without me going absolutely mad about it. And you know, again, just to show you guys that yes, a Mark 1 can kill a level 37 Eximus heavy gunner. Well, yes it can. Yes it can. You won't have any problem with it, and you'd think that Mark 1, that thing is a waste of time. Yes it is. I mean, just because there are better weapons for it, you know, better weapons besides it, but as you can see, it's actually pulling its own weight. Sure, I threw 5 formas at it, but you know, it's not as bad as you think. I mean, when it comes right down to it, we all know that Warframe comes down to modding, right? If you got the right mods, you can pretty much push anything to do whatever you want. But here's the thing. For a lot of you, I mean, like for a lot of people really, for a lot of people, they don't get to actually see this. And as you can see, heavy caliber made so much impact. If you saw, I actually killed 81 enemies and still had, let's see, 122 minus 81 was 43 enemies left to kill, and I ran out of ammo just because I missed my shots. So here's basically the loadout that I use for Corpus. Okay, this is the one that I substituted the heavy caliber for Bane of Corpus, and basically I'm going to, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys this, and then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna show you guys the one with the heavy caliber, just like previously. So previously you saw that in the Void, yes, we are kicking ass and we're killing everybody and all of that, right? But we ran out of ammo. So first off, you will have that limitation. However, now that we're fighting Corpus, we're not fighting the Void anymore. Well, I never actually had any time throughout that I felt like I ran out of ammo or stuff like that. Like the lowest that my ammo count has gone was actually around like 100 something, I think. So that was good, that was okay. However, with Corpus, the only problem you'll have is Oxium Osprey. Like, this is the big thing. Like, I know for some of you who are really into Oxium, not sure why, but you are really into it like a drug, so you're gonna have a hard time killing it with Mark 1. I mean, like, obviously this is a really silly thing to say, like, Zip, you're being stupid. Why would I even use Mark 1? That's right, good question. Why would you even consider using Mark 1? But, you know, again, just for demonstrative purposes, and I just want you guys to know that, yes, Mark 1 can handle its own. However, there are limitations if you actually wish to actually take down the stupid path that I took. I mean, it's silly, but then again, you know. So, as you can see so far with the Bane of Corpus, it's actually done pretty well, right? I mean, you do suffer from, like, the Eximuses like this. However, all in all, it's actually pretty okay, and you can see I took out Corpus Tech in like 3 hits, and it's fine. And now for the big thing, we're gonna fight Ambulus with it, and I know it's going to be annoying. Ambulus is one of those bosses that it just doesn't kind of work. And to be fair, although, you know, this is magnetic attacks with Toxin, right? It works really well for Corpus. However, the problem is, because of the magnetic, you don't really have that crowd control per se. So you're gonna have a little bit of a harder time really fighting this, but I figured it might actually be good to actually just use this, because with the magnetic, especially if you're fighting enemies with like a whole bunch of like shield osprey, you're gonna have a bad time. You're not gonna be able to take down the shield fast enough, and the magnetic will actually help you. So I figured we'll go down the magnetic toxin part, right? Like the path. So this is basically your heavy caliber, you know, counterpart to the Corpus loadout. And I know I sound like I'm droning on and just talking about like, oh, look at this Mk1 Braton that just kills everything, guys. It's like, and you'd probably be right in saying like, ah, but Zip, I'm not even gonna use that. That is just silly. Why would I like spend so much effort to get that when I can put a lot more effort on something else? Yes, you're right. And this is the kind of point that I'm trying to like kind of keep making or like throughout the whole video. However, the thing is, again, I want you guys to actually see it. I want you guys to actually feel it. I want you guys to actually notice that the maximum potential of a weapon could be extremely crazy when done right. Because trust me, throughout the whole time that I've played Warframe, I've wasted a ridiculous amount of formas, putting it in the wrong place with the wrong polarity, and I'm paying the price. Especially with my Vectis. I love my Vectis, but it just didn't work for me now. You know, before I didn't, like, I wasn't as aware about, like, maximizing a weapon as I do now, so it's a completely different thing entirely. Now I know better than I knew before. Now, after 1600 hours playing Warframe, and I'm not even kidding, my Steam says it is, it's 1600. Now, as you can see, with 5 formas, I mean, like, it is 5 formas, and you could actually argue that, oh yeah, all you need is 5 polarities. Yes, but these 5 polarities will carry you, like, into a ridiculously end game. This is the kind of maximization that I will pretty much go ahead and show you guys again, but just goes to show that when you're maximizing a weapon, when you're basically trying to just push the absolute limit of the potential of that weapon, then you actually get the feel for it. And mind you that I do not actually, you know, just, yeah, I'm just gonna level this weapon, I'm just gonna go, you know, do Arc and Derelict defense or something and just get people to kill things for me, and I'll just ride the XP train. Woo! Nah, I actually didn't. I actually took the hard way. I actually leveled it one at a time, doing missions as I see fit. I did not actually do defenses. I did not actually do, you know, like, I didn't do Orcan defense. I didn't do a dark sector defense. I did not do, like, I mean, like, I tested survival, but I didn't really spend any longer than 15 minutes on it because it makes me sleepy. So here's the Grenier loadout. Same deal with before, the Bane of Grenier, for this first, you know, kind of testing. And then after that, I'll go ahead and show you guys the heavy caliber. But the biggest thing here is that I want you guys to actually kind of realize that, yes, when you actually spend a lot of time, like I did, leveling a weapon, you actually get to know the habit of that weapon. You actually get the feel for it. You actually get to appreciate it. You actually get to appreciate it a lot. You'd be surprised that for a lot of people, they just pick up a weapon and go. They, you know, obviously they didn't spend hours on it like I did. I mean, for God's sake, I think I played too much Warframe, but that's a personal problem. I can quit whenever I want to, but the point is, I want you guys to actually understand that a lot of weapons have its own unique habits, really. And for Mark 1, it's actually about just how the weapon handles. I would actually argue that this is the only weapon with an actual recoil in the game, yes, because every other weapon just kind of recoils in a certain direction without an actual recoil feel to it. Whereas Mark 1 actually kind of bumps around like, you know, like you're trying to hold on into a really angry donkey for dear life and he's just trying to run away from you. But there's an actual kick to it. There's an actual, like, you actually learn how to place your shots as good as you can without actually sacrificing that really long range shots. All things considered, that yes, you are using a Mark 1 and you are shooting from far away. So it's actually not that bad. And I just want to, well, I'm using Kayla again just to show you guys that, look at this damage, blah blah blah. But no, the point is why I use Kayla is primarily because if I use like Sargus Rock or Teal Regger, like Teal Regger maybe, but the problem with Teal Regger is that he moves around too much. And if I use Sargus Rock, I have to wait for the thing to open and just shoot at him, and just, it takes too long. Like Krill would have that, you gotta shoot him in the back, and then you gotta wait for him to actually burn on fire, and then you get to shoot it. So you don't get to actually see it, especially with the heavy caliber that I'm throwing on it right now. It's not gonna be as easy to actually show you guys the amount of damage that you can inflict on an enemy. And it's rather weird, really, when you actually see the heavy caliber really hampers, like, just, oh god, like I can't hit the enemy. I can't, and it's not that hard, really, but I do love to actually make long range shots. I actually prefer fighting from far away rather than close. So heavy caliber really just makes it hard for me. It really does. It really makes it hard, which is kind of why I hated it beyond anything, really. But I'm putting the loadout here anyway, just to kind of give you guys an idea. So, you know, if you guys do love heavy caliber, here's what I recommend. But besides that, I really could not recommend you nothing. Like, I personally think heavy caliber is a waste. Because, I already showed you guys with the T3 Exterminate that, yes, I actually ran out ammos faster than without. I actually killed 140 or 130 something before I ran out of ammo. And with the what's it called, with the heavy caliber, I ran out at 88. So it's rather massive gap. I really think it's not worth it. Like, it's probably worth it if you're actually fighting bosses, but otherwise there's no point. So with that being said, I hope you guys actually get to see some cool Mark 1 and just like, you know, weapon maximization might not be my cup of tea, but it might actually be kind of cool to actually kind of keep watching this kind of video, huh? Actually educate yourself, as they say. But really, it's just watching the fruit of my labor, really. So if you guys actually like this kind of stuff, go ahead and check the channel. Or if you actually just want to kind of watch maximization video, go ahead and click the next video. It should be about Braton, because I already maximized that and I am dying to put out more content. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys. Bye bye.